I've only changed as a person as far as like my growth and experience. It's power in sharing your story and telling your story and having that impact, like what your influence is and what message that you sending out to these kids, and being careful with how you control that. And that's what it's been for me.
Start to understand that sneakers could also be used as a platform for storytelling?
I realized that when I was maybe in high school, and I remember Gilbert Arenas had a signature shoe, and he started coming with like the hibachi and kind of like connecting stuff he was really interested in and stuff he was really doing, into colorways and stuff like that. So that was probably around the time that I started to, make that connection. I did like this highlighter Dame 2, and it was like the material was like the material from a tennis ball. And the story behind it was like, me and all my cousins used to play baseball. We would play baseball, but it was in the tennis court because we wanted to have like a fence to hit it over the fence, like it was hit home runs over the fence. And we would walk out the tennis court, it was like a sign above like the doorway in the tennis court with all the rules on it. It was like a steel plate, and we would hit it with the bat. So like it's still up there to this day, and it just got a bunch of dents and holes in it from us 15 years of walking out just hitting it with the bat. And people connected with that. Like people really connected with it. Obviously, like it being like that color, it was really popular. But the fact that it was a huge story connected to my childhood, and other people probably did the same thing. So at that point, that was when I was like, okay, we can really make something of this.
The one thing I love about Dame is he always challenges us. He always challenges us. And that's one of the big things that we love. So anytime you're being creative and there's always this push and pull that happens. So we really talk to Dame, like, hey, where do you want to take this direction? Dame always gives us insight on where he's going for the next season, how he's going to elevate his game. He was coming off his second album, so he was giving us, hey, I'm going to really lay into to my creativity and music as well. And so that was kind of perfect for us. So when we think about Dame, he's multifaceted. So great basketball player, entrepreneur, great father, and great creator in terms of music. So that really was the basis for the shoe. So he says, every time I'm on the court, I want to make a statement. Oh, okay. That already talks about his mentality, how he's going to be locked in. But what we did was, how do you then make that transition to the shoe? And the cornerstone of duality naturally took that lead there. So and that's what we did with the shoe. We really started with duality on how do you, hey, here's how Dame is kind of on the outside on the court. You see him as a basketball player. But then once you kind of go into the other side, you start to see the creativity. And then for us, as Jimmy Taylor did a great job at designing the layers. So Dame has layers to him. So that's what you will see from the upper, multi-layers. You can kind of see through the shoe, and then you got some great storytelling opportunity on the medial side. So you get this duality of Dame. I'm always calm, cool, collective, but I got this creative side, and I'm ruthless. I'm mean on the court. I'm ruthless in the booth, and however you want it, I can give it to you.
You change your approach to how you come at your signature shoes?
I think you have to, and I do, because in the past I was like, this is what I like. I like this colorway, or I want this, and I realized that you got to be able to connect with what other people want. You got to be able to cater to what other people see and what they want to have on. And one story is like my nephew, Lil Houston, he's 10 years old, and it was last year, and I had a Black Panther colorway. And my nephew, he been living with me like since he was 2. When he was 2 years old, I was drafted. So he's been around everything. Like he was there in my first shoe launch. He was there, he came to all the games as a kid in the playroom. He's been around it so much to where like I'm not a big deal to him. So he don't really he don't view me that way. And if he get a pair of my shoes, he just like whatever. Like he don't really care. And then last year, he was like, man, Uncle, can I get those Black Panthers? Those saucy and all this stuff, like, cause he used all the little kid terms and like stuff like that. So he was actually excited about it. And I was like, the Black Panthers, like the movie was like a big deal, and he was really excited about it. So that was like one of the only times where I was like, it made me look at the shoe like, man, is this shoe really like hard like that? And after that, I started to like it more. And it seemed like I started to see more and more like of that colorway. And then when I got to camp and we had the shoes at my camp, all the kids wanted the Black Panther. So even that was a wake-up call, because it was like, I'm saying this is not one of my favorites, but everybody else is saying the opposite. So that was one of those experiences for me.
When we were designing the Dame 6, the theme of duality came up really early on through organic discussions with Dame. He was really talking about kind of how there's a multifaceted personality, and there's this kind of side of Dame that you see kind of on court, but then there's also a whole other side to him that exists beyond the lines of the court, whether it's his creativity in music or the kind of work he does with the community. There's just a lot to the guy. So it was a really interesting insight and something we wanted to take that wasn't just in terms of the way we approach color on the shoe, but also in terms of the way we built the shoe as well.
Like I just said, duality, just different sides. Like obviously I box to be able to defend myself properly and to be able to protect my family and my son and to show him that, and just for the discipline of it. But it's also like who I am. I watch every single pay-per-view boxing event. And it's also something I do for balance. Like before I start training again in the summer and I want to like start getting my body moving around and conditioning and stuff, I'm boxing. Bamboo sushi, like I didn't even eat sushi like a few years ago. And then now that's like the main thing I eat. You know, I'm always at that restaurant. And like even in the music, that's also another side of me, because I go to the studio sometimes and it's like, I'm there for hours and hours and hours and I'm not thinking about nothing else. It's like I just do all these things and it gives me that balance to when I do come back to training or I do come back to another NBA season, like my mind is fresh and I'm ready for it. I haven't been overwhelmed by just basketball, basketball, basketball.